On March 18, 1937, a violent explosion ripped through a high school in New London, Texas. 294 students and 2 teachers were killed, buried beneath piles of steel, brick, and debris. Minutes before the explosion, in the school's woodshop, a teacher had just switched on a sanding machine. What happened next would change hazmat history. I'm Roger with Lion Technology, and welcome to Lion's Hazmat History video series, where we explore the events, industry trends, and government actions that shape the hazardous materials and safety regulations that we know today. Before we start, I want to be clear about something up top. We are not making light of the incidents we discuss here. Our goal is to highlight the importance of hazardous materials safety and provide some historical context for the regulatory environment that manufacturers, importers, shippers, and carriers operate in today. Now, let's get back to 1937 and that high school explosion. What happened? In the 30s, it was common for consumers near oil fields, including schools, to tap into waste gas lines as an inexpensive source of natural gas. Waste gas had leaked into the school building. A spark from the machine was all it took. Now, this teacher had no idea that his actions would result in an explosion because natural gas was odorless back then. After this incident, states began to require that natural gas be mixed with a substance to make it smell bad to give people early warning of a gas leak. Today, under US DOT's 49 CFR Hazardous Materials Regulations, or HMR, no person may ship or transport odorless liquefied petroleum gas, LPG, unless the tank or tank car is clearly marked with the words non-odorized or not odorized. So see if you can spot those words the next time you see a freight train or a tanker truck roll by. Now you know why they're required. The next incident we cover was one of the most destructive and deadly industrial accidents in American history. The date was April 16, 1947. Longshoremen working in the port of Texas City, Texas, loaded ammonium nitrate fertilizer aboard a cargo vessel, the SS Grand Champ. The ship exploded, and I mean it really exploded. Burning shrapnel rained down on the industrial area, setting fires and causing other damage. Several crude oil tankers were set ablaze and burned for days, and a nearby ship loaded with sulfur caught fire and exploded as well. At one point, the fire engulfed a nearby chemical plant. When it did, a mushroom cloud rose 2,000 feet in the air and actually disabled and crashed 2 small planes. In all, 581 people lost their lives, among them many local firefighters. Earlier that morning, dock workers had observed smoke in the ship's cargo hold where 2,300 tons of fertilizer was already stowed. Not wanting to damage that cargo, they decided to starve the fire of oxygen instead of using water to put it out. But an ammonium nitrate is an oxidizer, and oxidizers, generally speaking, yield enough oxygen themselves to sustain a fire. It took less than an hour for the temperature inside the cargo hold to rise enough for a spark to trigger the initial blast. Today, the storage, transportation, and use of ammonium nitrate is strictly regulated. The HMR contains extensive requirements for safely handling, loading, and unloading hazardous materials. Hazmat safety training is required for employees who handle these materials, and every employee must know what to do in the event of an emergency. Facilities that store large volumes of certain hazardous chemicals, including ammonium nitrate, may be subject to emergency planning and reporting requirements under EPA programs like the Clean Air Act and EPGRA, as well as OSHA's standard for process safety management. Incidents that echo the disaster in Texas City occurred in West Texas in 2013 and Beirut in 2020. We reported on both incidents in our weekly e-newsletter, and we'll add links to those 2 stories below. Military history buffs in our audience might know about this next incident. On a Saturday morning in spring 1973, a train arrived at Roseville Rail Yard near Sacramento, California, pulling 21 freight cars belonging to the U.S. Department of Defense. In each car, there were 330 Mark 81 bombs earmarked for the U.S. war effort in Vietnam. Those bombs wouldn't make it to Vietnam. The train's brakes overheated, and a spark set off a chain reaction that detonated the bombs aboard the train one by one. Explosions continued for 5 hours and could be heard 40 miles away. Nearby, 400 houses were evacuated before being completely leveled by the blasts. An elementary school, empty for the weekend, was destroyed too. 6 years before the Roseville rail yard incident, the National Transportation Safety Board was established as part of the U.S. DOT. After the incident, Congress passed the Independent Safety Board Act of 1974. This law made NTSB an independent agency, which is how they still operate today. NTSB investigates transportation accidents to identify causes and recommend safety improvements. Thank you for watching this first edition of the Hazmat History video series. If you learned something new in this video, please hit the like button, share the video, or leave a comment to let us know. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the notification bell so you know when we release our next Hazmat History video. And I'll see you next time.